So I finally installed the winch on the Pajero a few weeks ago and I haven't put a video together for you guys, so I'm going to show you now. I've never installed a winch before, this was the first time, and I'll show you what it's like installing a winch for the first time. You know, I probably have done steps not correct, so please don't come at me on the comments. It's my first time doing it, I'm learning, I'm just simply putting a video out there so that other people can learn and get an idea and say, hey, that's not as hard as what I thought it would be. So this is a video of how I did it. Before you go to install the winch onto your bull bar, you're going to have to think about the clutch placement. So I had to change the placement of the clutch so that it's easier for me. You know, when you're in a situation that you need your winch, you don't want to have to be struggling to find that clutch release. And for me, I had to spin it around 90 degrees. So you might have to skip this step, you might have to do it. It just depends on which way you actually mount your winch onto your bull bar. And this is probably the most tedious bit of the entire job. This definitely took a lot longer than what it was to install the winch on. So the bit that took the longest was as we rotated the clutch around. The gasket is like a rubbery gasket, it's not a metal one. I don't know, we just thought it would be a metal one. And as we twisted it around, the holes were lining up for 2 or 3 of the holes, but not for the rest. So it took us a little while to figure out, oh, it's a rubber gasket. So I don't know if all winches are like this or it's just this Dobinsons one, but keep that in mind because it was definitely very frustrating. Installing the winch is definitely a 2-person job, and if you can do it by yourself, props to you, because I definitely cannot. But I was quite surprised. As you guys know, I have an ARB bull bar and I didn't have to remove that bull bar to put the winch in. That was a big concern of mine, was having to take the bull bar off, but I didn't even have to take the bash plate off or anything. It fit in quite good. It did take like a little bit of Tetris to move it in, but honestly less than a minute to actually put it into place. And then having the rope tied around, as you can see, it's taking a fair bit of the weight, like it's wrapped around the bull bar while we put the pins into place. So if you have 2 people, tie a rope around it and wrap it around the bull bar, because it made it a lot easier. And as you can see, what I was talking about before, this is where I've bolted it to the face of my bull bar. I'm pretty sure there's other ways you can mount it if you have a winch cradle and stuff, but for my Pajero and for my bull bar, this was the easiest way to install it for me. There are many ways to install a winch, this is just the way that I've done it, so please don't come at me. And this is the way, or this is the bracket that I use to mount the motor onto the winch. There's another connection or 2, I can't remember, but this is the way that would work for my car. So as I said, you know, there's multiple different ways you can install a winch, and this is just the way that I went for my car and onto my ARB bull bar. Pretty sure with ARB bull bars you can still use the other bracket, but this is just the option that I went with. And it was a little bit fiddly, and we didn't have a flat bar to screw onto, so as you can see I just grabbed some scrap metal and made a nice little temporary, except it's sort of permanent now because the winch has been installed for about a month or 2 and I haven't tried to replace that. And it's pretty strong. It might look flimsy, but it's held the weight, and I have been using the winch, and you know, like that there doesn't actually take any of the weight. And it was a little bit fiddly. That's the one good thing about having little hands, is I can fit my hands into tight little spots and put those screws on. So sorry about the angles as well. It's a little bit hard to film and add things, and you know, your bull bar doesn't have much room as it is. I'm trying to find a good spot for the camera to sit, but as you can see, that's just the back side of the box and how I'm putting the bolts on, or the nuts. Yeah, as you can see, installing the winch is not as hard as what I thought it would be. So it was a little bit fiddly, but we got it tightened up alright. That's another good thing about my little hands and my little wrists. And it's a bit hard to see here, it's a bit dark, but they were colour coordinated and it's pretty easy to see, you know, which wires go on to which one. So I think there was only 3 of them that we had to put on. Still another little fiddly job, but not too bad. Next step, you're going to want to run the wires to your battery. Fairly simple. I'm sure you guys all know how to connect things up to your batteries. I did take my grill out for this, made it a lot easier. and you know, it takes 2 seconds to take your grill out. As you can see, I already have a shit ton of things on my battery, so I did have to tidy that up a little bit and take a few things off and connect it to dual battery and stuff like that. But yeah, good thing about it is there's plenty of slack on the wires, you know, you're not trying to pull it too tight or anything. It up to the battery, and that's pretty much it for the winch. There we just flick the clutch release so you can see how that spools out nice and fast. And then you're just going to want to flick that clutch release again so that it doesn't keep on spooling out. And the good thing about my winch that I like is I have a wireless remote, and I also have one that connects up as well. So as you can see, that's the wireless remote that I have there, and it worked quite well. It's not very often that I do things to my car, and it works first go, so I was very excited that this actually worked.